once. Chicago finished the game with 281 yards on the ground, which is the most the Eagles have allowed in a game since 2015. Translation, it's time to call Chicken Little, right?
I don't think something big needs to change. The sky's falling outside the locker room. We understand that, but I have nothing but the utmost confidence in the men in this locker room, players and coaches included, and it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us to come together, block out the noise. Can't be pointing fingers, all look internally, because everybody, is contributing to the way we're playing right now. Literally every single body. We all got to play better.
It's never just about one person, right? You win as a team, you lose as a team, and you try to evaluate everything, win, lose, or draw, and get better from it.
We got to definitely stay together, and stay committed to what the team is trying to accomplish in the end. It's no one ever said it was going to be easy. And we gotta embrace the challenge. We gotta embrace this time and respond to it the right way.
All right, Tim Hasselbeck joins us now for a little post-Thanksgiving perspective. So the Bears pounding the ground, Tim, in ways that they haven't seen since the days of the legendary Walter Payton. How are they able to be so effective against that Eagles defense?
But yeah, Ben Johnson gets all this credit for being creative, finding ways to throw the football, but the reality is they just got after him up front. They have creativity in their run game, but they also just do a good job of moving people. Here's a good example. DJ Moore is in the backfield. He's going to run split zone. So what they do here is just wind him back, and by doing that, you see the movement that they get on the front side, and he's often running to the second and third level. Now they're going to get Cole Kmet. We're going to motion him back into the backfield, and now it's a wham play. You're just going to bring Kmet back to the defensive tackle. That gets the guard up to the linebacker level players, and again, it's swift. And look at the lanes to run the football, just pouring it downhill. When you are doing things like that, you get both backs over 200 yards. And now, down near the goal line, just the inside zone run play. Look at the movement. They say score with your man when you get down near the 5. That's basically what the Bears were doing. So, yeah, a lot of creativity, a lot of fun plays, oftentimes when you watch the Bears. But sometimes there isn't anything better than just lining up, moving the guy in front of you. That's what the Bears did to the Eagles.
Yep, and going all the way back to Walter Payton when they actually won the Super Bowl back in the 1980s, that's exactly what they were doing at the offensive line. Let's flip it, though, Tim, to the Eagles now, because they've looked like anything but the defending champs these last couple of games. They played so bad, in fact, that they even got booed at home. What do you think of Sirianni's decision to go for that 2-point conversion?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. Philadelphia had been struggling. Chicago had really been handling the game, and you score, and you have an opportunity to keep it a one-score game by kicking the extra point. You basically don't want to go for 2 until you absolutely have to, because it remains a one-score game. There was plenty of time left on the clock. There were all their timeouts. There was an opportunity to really put the pressure on Chicago on the road, in a windy night, to say, okay, yeah, you've got to get the first down in order, to put the game away. But by going for 2, failing to get it, it then is a 2-point game, 2-score game, and it just takes so much pressure off of the Chicago Bears in terms of executing a 4-minute drive.
Yeah, maybe just all that drama, internal, external, whatever it is starting to impact some of the decision-making there for Nick Sirianni. And, yeah, not a good look. And the fans booing them also not a good look. Tim Hasselbeck.
Time since 1985, the Bears have 2 separate 100-yard rushers in the same game. It was Walter Payton and Matt Suhey then. It's Swift and Monungai now. Back with fellas to explore it all. Emery Hunt, Patrick Peterson, and let's start surface level here on what Black Friday meant to what we might see come January. The Bears, their percentage skyrockets here to 80-some% to make the playoffs. Still got to play Green Bay twice. Still got to finish with Detroit. A big matchup with San Francisco in between there as well. This one goes miles in getting them to a place they haven't been in a very long time. The way they won today, Emery, how positive should Bears fans be about playoff football because they can run the way they did?
Very much so, because that's where I was going to go. When you look at teams that are usually the Final Four on both sides, AFC, NFC, is usually a team that can play great run defense or great defense and can run the ball when they want to. And the Bears showed today that they can run the football when they wanted to, not because they had to, because it's the next play call in the shot sheet or whatnot. They ran it because they decided today we're just going to run the football. And you need that going into the postseason, because at the end of the day, just like we saw today, it helps you shrink the ball game and puts pressure on the opposing team to maximize those possessions. If you can't deal with pressure, then you would hate to face a team that can run the football like the Bears ran it today, or like any team that can run the football and play good defense.
Pat, it's hard to wrap heads around playoff football in Chicago after this last decade or so, but getting the hire right means so much in today's NFL. Ben Johnson has really breathed the belief into this football team. Where do you see that manifest most?
Man, for the most part, with him creating that identity of wanting to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and again, if they're able to run the football as efficient and at will, like they have been throughout the season, they're going to be a dangerous team, because last time I checked, they do play outdoors. Green Bay is an outdoor stadium. Philadelphia is an outdoor stadium. So these games, they're going to be used to. And if you're able to run the ball as efficient as the Chicago Bears, and Caleb Williams making these in key moments as he did today, the play of the game was the Cole Kmet to close out the game. That throw roll out to his left to get his body back squared up and deliver a dime. And that's just something that he do at a very, very high level. But now, if you're able to run the ball, now you have to deal with that as a defense. So the Chicago Bears right now running game is the best that we have seen all year, and it's with a purpose, and Ben Johnson have definitely brought that with him.
It is the best running game Chicago has seen in quite some time, the best team they've seen in quite some time, and in turn, an inside track Emery now to the playoffs.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's because something Pat P said just is harking back to the greatest show on turf with the Rams, right? Everyone talked about that team because they were number one in scoring, but people forget they could run the heck out the football with Marsha Falk and Holcomb and company, right? But on defense, they were very opportunistic. I think they were like 15th that year in total defense. So the Bears are using the right formula to have success come postseason time, because you're going to need some luck. Let's say turnovers can be forced, but it's half force, half luck, and you need that going in. The fact that you know how to create those gives you that confidence to try to create those, but the fact that they can run when they want to, despite the dynamic pieces of other, that's the key. And that's the key ingredient you need to go forward.
You go late 90s, early 2000s. I go even further back. This game, the first time since 1985 that the Bears had two separate 100 rushes in the same game. It was Walter Payton and Matt Suhey in that story year in 85. Not saying we're heading it. They recorded the music video in week 12, so we're already behind pace if that is your comparison point in Chicago. This means something, but not every Philadelphia this loss. It's time to soul search, but because of that division, Pat, they're still squarely in that playoff picture and likely to be a division champ, barring something cataclysmic happening here down the stretch. Because of that fact, how do they apply pressure to themselves to get this sorted and be the team they were when they met the playoffs last year?
Joe, this league is a copycat league, right? And what teams are going to do, they're going to go back and watch this tape, what Chicago Bears, this last game they just played, Chicago Bears versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and want to see what was successful. And why the Chicago Bears were so successful, they was able to hit runs on the perimeter, able to hit runs up the gut, keeping that defensive line off balance and keeping their eyes wondering where the next run is going to be. And if you saw that game, the defensive line was uncomfortable the entire game, looking left, looking right. So, if teams want to have an opportunity to have an efficient running game on the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward, the Chicago Bears definitely gave you the blueprint. So, we all know this offense of the Philadelphia Eagles have been struggling. They've been showing success in spurts. We saw what they was able to do last week in that first half and sputtered out in the second half and kind of carried that same momentum into this ball game, and they end up losing. So the blueprint is out on the Philadelphia Eagles. You just have to make sure, if you're playing them, that you stick to the strip, making sure that you oppose your will and don't give into the bully ball that they want to play. You know what I mean? Meaning stuff behind, after the whistle, before the whistle, the chirping before the game. You just have to go in there, handle your business, and make sure that you're your game plan so you can walk out of there with a W.
Emery, maybe not by their own fans, but a defending champion is afforded the benefit of the doubt. Still a very good football team that needs to find that gear, that needs to get things to click, needs to see one go in per se. Where do they glean their confidence from right now, the Philadelphia Eagles?
Great question. I think they have to transition out of X's and O's mode to Jimmy's and Joe's mode because they got dudes. It's like, hey, I'm
11 was competing today.
Exactly. So you think A.J. Brown, I'm better than you on the opposite side. Devonta Smith, I'm faster than you and better than you on the other side. Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley. You talk about those two interior defensive linemen. You look at what they have on the edge and what they have at corner, what they have at safety. They have to play, to use a basketball reference, we're in basketball season, you have to play iso ball. I'm going to just beat the guy in front of me. And if they can go into that mode, they have more Jimmys and Joes than other teams collectively in the league. Now, when you add the X's and O's, that is where things are going to have to get tightened up. But if you can just go out there and say, okay, your day, your day, your day, that's how they can get back into a groove. And the good part about it, Joe and Pat, that schedule looks rather delicious for them to have. I'm still on delicious, by the way. It's still holiday season.
And I'm still uncomfortable.
That schedule looks rather nice for those guys to get going.
Uncomfortable situation for teams in the NFC trying to find themselves into that wild card picture, because when you see what's going on in the NFC North and when you see what's going on out west in the NFC, it's going to be hard-pressed to find wild card teams not from those two divisions. Emery, let's look at the North first, because Week 14, big-time match between the Bears and the Packers. You also have a massive one between the Cowboys and the Lions. Cowboys fighting for their playoff lives, however slim those chances may be. Detroit, not in that position, but it's getting late early now here for a Detroit team that's going to face a hungry Dallas team. When you look at these matchups in Week 14, what has to happen?
I mean, for my agenda, what needed to happen.
I believe you picked the Bears. You were like one of 3 people in the United States of America to pick the Bears to win the division.
So we're sitting right